Okay, my number one is Assassin's Creed 3. I'll try and be brief because I could honestly sit here and talk all fucking night about this game, so I'll try and keep it brief. You haven't played it, right?
No.
No interest?
My history with the game is checkered, to say the least. I was intrigued by it. I liked the way the trailers and everything looked, and then I read a lot of the reviews, and I was like, I'm going to swerve this one. But however, I will listen to what you have to say. So
yeah, I think it's basically essential, despite all of its flaws, and there are plenty. It's just I can't remember the last time I played a game that was so unapologetic about what it is. It doesn't give a shit if you don't like the opening 4 hours, which basically holds you by the hand, as you've probably heard. It just does so many things that could potentially fuck people off, and for such a massive mega budget franchise, I just think that's fascinating, and I warm to it, even despite its flaws. I just think you have to play it. It does so many interesting things that you forgive all the stupid shit that it does. Have you heard? You've heard that you play through the opening 4 hours. People have called it a tutorial, which annoys me. The opening 4 hours, but it's not a tutorial because you don't get taught. You don't learn any moves and stuff. You just play through this sequence, and it leads you by the hand, and there's not a lot of room for manoeuvring around. And it's because it's just setting up the story. If you're going to respond, I can understand why some people would be pissed off with that. I thought it was fantastic, the opening. I suppose you've heard that you don't play as the lead character for that time.
Yeah. None of this stuff bothers me.
What do you mean?
The fact that people said it was linear at first and you don't play as the character, I was like, well, that doesn't bother me. That sounds fine.
Okay,
I'm not bothered by that.
But I mean, it doesn't let you do anything. You go from A to B a few times, and there's a lot of cutscenes.
Right.
So it's not like, I mean, it's a long time. But yeah, the character that you play is not the lead character. But the character initially, I got really pissed off because once it moved to the lead character, I kind of missed the guy at the beginning because he's basically a complete shithead. They make no effort. He's a murderous scumbag, and they make no effort to try and make him likeable. And that in itself was really refreshing. He had charisma, but they didn't bother trying to make him likeable in the slightest. He wasn't a villain. He just had a bit of colour to him, and I thought that was really good. And when you start to realise who he is and how he fits into the story, I was like, that's really nice. That's really nicely done. I don't think I've seen a game doing that before. It's something that you've seen in movies, but I was like, wow, that's really cool. It's full of audacious things. Whether there's a stretch of it that's completely delivered. The dialogue is all in subtitles, and again in a mega budget franchise sequel, these are the kind of things that you do not expect. I mean, I don't know what it says about games as a medium, but that is audacious to do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest sandbox I think I've ever seen. The amount of content is just absolutely ridiculous. And that's the other thing it does. It doesn't try and sort of advertise itself and say, look at all this stuff. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, you can just carry on with the main mission and ignore everything. There's homesteading and stuff, which, I mean, there's elements to it. There's things that certain people are going to warm to, like the homesteading, which is basically building up your sort of living area, getting community in there, managing the money and stuff like that. Not for me, I'll leave that to one side. But the naval fucking combat, which you can also leave if you want, but the naval missions are just some of the best gaming I've done this year. Absolutely, without question. Have you? I mean, I presume you've seen footage of it.
I've seen them, yeah.
Again, I don't know, but you're captaining, you're piloting this massive. I mean, it feels massive. It's a massive warship, and you've got to fight the weather. Because you have to keep dropping and raising the sails and commanding your guys to do this and that, because otherwise you'll blow either into an enemy or into a rock or something like that. And you've got to sort of direct the gunfire when you're in a ruck with the other ships. And then there's bits that I did. This is something I didn't realise was in the game. So when it happened, I almost jumped out of my seat. You can basically pull up to the boat you're having a fight with, and all your guys can jump on board and have a load of fucking sword fight stuff. I was just like, this is so fucking gleam. It's stupid. Those sequences are just, they're some of the best gaming experiences I've had all year. And just the heft of that boat, you feel like you're piloting this fucking massive boat. The way the wind works, I mean, it's just great.
That sounds good.
It is good. The rest of the action is it's been simplified here and there and whatnot. The combat's a little bit simpler. There's no lock-on anymore. It's much more like Arkham City, which is, you know, in itself a little bit irritating because it isn't everything these days.
Yeah.
But I'm just... It's a game that deliberately... There are sequences and bits in it where you're supposed to just sit back and just sort of bask in it a little bit. That can be annoying. You know, there's bits where you're supposed to traverse, very well chosen, I have to say, bits of terrain that you're supposed to... you're only going from A to B, but the process of doing that, it's like exposition. It's like giving you a feel for the environment, and that can piss some people off. I could sit here and talk about it all day. I honestly could. So it's one of those games that I think there's a lot wrong with it. It's like a French art house film. I made this comparison to a mate. There's films that me and my mate who go to the cinema together, we've seen so many French art house films that fail fundamentally, but they elicit a 6-hour conversation afterwards. And as far as I'm concerned, that's valuable in itself, and I'll recommend that game to anyone. It's not comparable directly in that it's not a failure because it works. It's just that it does so many things that it just does. It doesn't care. It could piss you off at any time, and it doesn't really give a shit about it. And I really like that.
That sounds... You sound more interesting than any of the positive stuff I've read about it, or any of the negative stuff I've read about it.
I mean, the thing about Assassin's Creed though is that my favourite was Revelations, which was no one else's favourite. Did you play that one?
That was the one with the one with the tower defence and all that shit.
Yeah, really cool tower defence mode. I really like that. I like the hook blade, and I really like just the way that it was clearly inspired by Inception, and he was Desmond Miles, the least interesting guy ever in a video game, was stuck in that kind of weird metropolis because he was starting to go a bit mad. I don't know. Revelations was no one else's favourite, but it was probably mine. Aside from this, but that seemed to piss people off because it did all these things that perhaps weren't expected of it, and this just constantly, it just doesn't give a shit. It does not care if you don't like the fact that you're being led by the hands, or you do have to traverse all this. I mean, there's something incredibly bracing about that, and you know, it's a game that is already divisive. Some people hate it, some people love it, but that's reason in itself to play it.
That's made me want to play it.
Well, I know you won't, but at the same time,
I might play it. I played all the others. I don't really like any of them, but I've played them all.
I have to say, I still don't like the Desmond Miles stuff. Was always a cop out.
Yeah, I agree.
I always, when the first Assassin's Creed game came out, I was like, wow, really cool, and you know, you get immersed in that world. And the fact that they had that framing device in the modern day, I was like, what a cop out.
Yeah,
it's a real shame.
I've always thought that as well.
Yeah.
But a lot of people love all that shit.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Multiplayer is fantastic as well, incidentally. I mean, it's been pretty good since Brotherhood, but now it's just... Me and a mate had some games on the other night. It's so fucking fun. Clever, really thoughtfully designed. I mean, it's good shit. I mean, just as a package...
I feel like I need to try it now. You've made it sound really interesting. It's really good, really good description there, mate. To be honest,
I don't think you'll like it. But then you don't.
Yeah, but that's okay too. If that makes any sense, you've made it seem like I need to know now.
That's what I feel like. There's bits where there's bits of it when I was like, this is fucking interminable. What are they like? But you know what they're doing. They're not doing it for no reason. They're not doing it because they're incompetent. They're doing it because they have this vision and they're delivering it. And if you don't like it, fuck off. And that's, for a blockbuster video game, I'm all over it.
That line of thought reminds me of Far Cry 2, which makes me intrigued by it, because there's plenty of stuff in that game where they're just like, you don't like it, they don't care.
Yeah.
This is what it is. And they're not French, but yeah, they might as well be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And the guys that made that game were fucking awesome when I met them. My favourite interview ever. So now I'm intrigued. Damn. Well, it probably won't be next year anyway, with everything else that's done at the moment. But yeah.
It's clean.